I believe it. Welcome, folks. We'll let a handful more trickle in and get themselves into this here Zoom room with us, and then we'll get underway. Mhm. Love it. Emily, give me the hand signal when you'd like me to just take it
I
away.
think I
Yeah,
think
you there?
pretty good. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Hello, folks. Super awesome to see the invested and connected folks of the Northwest Cider community getting into this room today. In case there are those that don't know my fame, I'm Andrew Byers, and I am your board president. I'm also a co-owner and operations director out here at Finn River Cidery in Washington. And I guess as way of welcome, uh, I like to get grounded and I like to understand where we're sitting. And as there is always some tumult in the ciderverse, whether that be specifically in our craft beverage category or in the Northwest community at large, the United States at large, or pandemic supply lines, et cetera, that reach globally, there is always some tumult. And I'd like to just refocus on this notion that there is a tried and true antidote to this tumult that the world offers us each day. And that antidote is to focus on the local. Not necessarily inherently hyper-local, but that's where my heart usually goes. So reaching for that community fabric, engaging with the issues that you can solve locally with your team and with us as a step larger in that team. And I'm super well aware that it takes an extra bit of energy and effort to make community connections, to involve a slightly larger group in whatever research or decision you're trying to make, whatever you're facing. And I just want to make it abundantly clear that as board members, as a president of this board, and including the others on this advisory board, we are here to facilitate that extra connection to the larger network. So for each of you on the board, if you're struggling to connect, please reach out to me. And for each of you as members, if you're struggling to connect, find a board member, reach out. That little hurdle, once you're over it, networks you into a larger community network that is interested in supporting each other. And that's what we represent. So let us help each other solve our problems. And in that way, we can be this mycelial connection to the membership of this locally focused bioregional organization. That's what I feel is one of the strongest attributes of being part of the Northwest Cider Association. And I get it that it takes a little bit of extra energy, and you put it out there today. You've joined us in this room. You are recognizing names of colleagues and various friends in the industry. This is how we come together, and this is how we support each other so that we can be a stronger category, a stronger individual connected to a stronger whole. With that in mind, welcome to all of you. And here's Emily Ritchie, the Executive Director.
Thank you so much, Andrew. That was really uplifting and a great way of centering us and why we are here today and what we do as an organization. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm so excited to be here and to welcome you to our 2025 annual meeting. Officially, we have to do this for our bylaws. Mostly in our bylaws, it's just to vote on board members, but we like to go above and beyond and give you all a nice synopsis of where we've been, where we're going, and to get your feedback on a lot of programming as we go into the new year. So thank you for making the time. I know it's we're sort of towards the end of the harvest season. Some people are still out there picking apples or you're working on your fermentations right now. And I really appreciate you making some time to be here. I love seeing everyone in with their cameras on, or at least their names. And I can see we have allied suppliers here. We have cideries, we have orchardists. Thank you all to everyone who has actually renewed and paid your dues. I will get into financials a little bit later, but this year especially, your membership matters so much, and we really, really appreciate that. I also want to thank, I'm managing slides too, so let me see. Oh, this is our agenda. It's very simple this year. And I want to thank our supporters of this meeting, specifically Columbia Distributing and Great Little Box Company. Really, everyone's sponsorships go a long, long way. We keep our overhead super low, and the membership dues, the sponsorships, and the grants combined allow us to do what we're doing. Huge thank you to Fruit Smart and to Northwest Naturals for coming back again in 2026. We know it is a tough year coming up. We're all feeling it. We're all tightening our belts. And I especially want to thank them for returning with us. Okay, so we've got some new photos for you. This one especially was pertinent for looking ahead. What are we doing in 2026? Let's just jump right in. So the big news here, and I know strategic plans aren't that exciting to talk about, but it's really exciting to make sure we have a strong direction to go. So we have an updated 2026 to 2029 strategic plan for the whole organization. And this is really important for you all to know what your dues are going towards and how the board has guided us. How we got here is that we had a plan that will end, at the end of December this year. It was a 3-year plan. We spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, 9 months, talking to members, asking you what you wanted, figuring out where that could, where the intersection of that plus grants and our staff abilities could be. We took a look again for 6 months this year on what needed to change. As the industry is always changing, but especially out of the pandemic. How have things shifted? What do we need to keep doing? Is there anything we need to stop doing? So we spent time again talking to members this year, talking to non-members also. Where's the industry growing? Why aren't you a member? What is it we can do to include as many people as we can? Then the board came together. We had a full day meeting where we really got into, what is it looking like with federal grants being, less than certain? What are we doing that's really going to help cideries be as strong as they can be right now? And what are our contingency plans? So what we came up with, our mission and our vision have not changed. So our vision is still that the Pacific Northwest is at the heart of the craft cider movement. Our mission is still that we're going to nurture the community, the economy, and the ecosystem of our thriving cider culture. And we're having a focus on our members as well as consumers to support our businesses. And we want to make sure we're telling that story of Northwest Cider. Our goals, again, have not shifted a lot. We've tweaked a little bit, but number one is really increasing demand for Northwest Cider, right? We're going to do that through elevating the reputation and the visibility with both consumers and industry trade, right? So we're trying to do that push-pull here. Goal 2 is empowering you all, empowering especially our cidery members. And goal 3 is making sure the organization here is strong and stable so we can be here for many, many strategic plans moving forward to support you. So let's dig in a little bit. I'm not going to go through the whole plan. We will email this to you later. I know reading strategic plans gets you really excited every day, but I'm just going to go through really quick. So, right, the goal 1, right, is to increase demand for Northwest Cider. How we're going to do that? These are our areas of work. This is really focused on consumers, right? So our map, we have a big project we're going to talk about coming up, but our map is a really great way of sending people directly to cideries, getting people in the door. Then, secondly, when you think about what can the industry coalesce around, it's really talking about the fact that there's a lot of different cider styles. When I think back a decade ago, 11 years ago, when I started this industry, I was at farmers markets, I was pouring cider. We weren't talking about cider styles very much yet. We were trying to, but I had to get over the hump of, are you pouring me apple juice or not? You know, we were really there. We have achieved that. I would say the majority of consumers I talk to now are not worried about, is this alcoholic or not? People understand cider now in some ways, right? So our next goal is really to get them talking about styles, so that just like with beer, with wine, they know whether they like a Bordeaux or a Pinot Noir. If they don't like Bordeaux, they can find something else they like. It doesn't mean that they write off the whole category. We want them to do the same thing with cider, right? Just because they don't like a fruited cider doesn't mean they won't like a hopped cider or whatever it is that's gonna wet their whistle. Number 3 is earned and paid media. So we've got a PR contractor who's incredible, and we are paying for marketing. We're doing our own marketing. We are also engaging you all in collective marketing. Okay, so that's the first area of work, and that's really consumer focused. Okay, so secondly, we want to engage the trade, right? We have this push-pull. We just did this great event we'll tell you about up in Seattle, really trying to get cider into restaurants. We want to engage the folks who are able to hand sell or to, you know, be the distributor, all the folks that make cider go that are not us. And then the second area of work here is supporting the production of high quality cider, right? So we threw our Cider Cup into this before. If you're very astute and into details, you will know from our last plan that this was a separate area of work. But really, when we think about why we do the cup, we want to make sure high quality cider is coming out of the Northwest, so that we have a reputation for high quality cider, and that then ultimately people are buying more, right? It's still going towards increasing demand. Okay, goal 2, empowering cideries. So this is the area of work. These are the 5 areas of work here. So one is we will be doing our state of the industry survey, right? That's a biannual survey now. We don't bug you every year, but in 2026, that will be coming up again. So please, your feedback, your data is really, really helpful for us to know what is happening and for us to share that information so you all can make smart business decisions. Secondly, we do our best to maintain and share resources for you all, and maintain that sort of that communication between you and the greater industry. Number 4 is hosting educational opportunities. A big one of that is the symposium, and we will be telling you more about that. We've got dates for you. Registration's open. And then also our social gatherings, and we'll have the dates for those coming up this year too. And then finally, we want to reduce policy barriers to you. And I'm really excited about a new board member who's really going to help us with that. Okay, so that's the strategic plan. I'm going to pass this on to Jana to talk about the culinary programming.
Thanks, Emily. Good morning, everybody. I'm excited that I get to chat about food and cider, of course. This is a kind of body of work that we launched back in 2024. So hopefully this is familiar to many of you, but I'll kind of bring you along. Back in fall of 2024, if you're tracking with the grant cycles, that's typically when we've been awarded grant cycles. We were awarded 2 new specialty crop grants in 2024, one from Oregon Department of Agriculture and one from Washington. So really wonderful to get to dovetail some of these bigger areas of our membership. And this scope of work is informed specifically by the State Essentials study. It's the menu adoption cycle. And we'll put that in the chat so you can take a deeper dive on it. We've shared this before, but this study shows us that the food and beverage trends, they're actually predictable. It's not random, and that they often can start in early and high-end restaurants and sort of trickle down. So that is what we are working to do for cider. We've partnered with the Culinary Breeding Network. We piloted adding cider to the Sagra del Radicchio event last December 2024. We updated our Northwest Cider pairing. Some of you have been around for a long time, know we were ready for a refresh on that. It's a resource for our members, for consumers, and for trade, all those audiences again. And we also working with Culinary Breeding Network. I think this is a big takeaway for us. A lot of times we get kind of in our insular world around cider, and we love to hear from cider makers and talk about cider and get educated by cider makers. But we really learned that chefs and restaurateurs want to learn from their culinary peers. So that's the kind of angle in which we're going into our education and our work. Next up, second slide, we'll look at the ways that we've kind of activated that so far. So specifically, we've been looking at, we were lucky to kind of get a quick glimpse actually this week, so really well timed, of some on-premise data from NIQ from British Columbia. Mitch Stefani was kind enough to share that with us, the director of on-prem there, and confirmed that in fact these on-premise sales offer an opportunity to support the cider curious consumers. And again, if you've been following along, the cider curious consumers are who we kind of narrowed down into focusing on as we did consumer market research. And this really dovetails with what we found in our consumer market research, is that, you know, folks they're interested in cider, they're purchasing cider, but not as often as we'd like them to. And on-premise provides a really wonderful place for people to take that chance. They can try something new. They can support local. Maybe they're willing to pay a little bit more for a better quality or a higher quality drink. Again, I'm pulling these out of that particular study, and we'll send that to you so you can take a look at it in your own detail. I'll also say that in that first bullet point, this is often the place where you might get those recommendations. And we learned that in our consumer market research as well, right? So getting a recommendation from someone you trust would help you to make that chance, take that chance. We know that increased cider offerings on the menus are going to increase sales. And in order to do that, we're helping to curate these opportunities where people get to learn more about cider. They get to try things. You know, pictured here was that Sagra 2024. Here's the new handout. Here's, you know, a attendee looking at the handout, and then the apples, they're tasting them in real time and putting the culinary, you know, food that has been paired in their mouths along with these individual apple varietals, and getting to really see how cider is situated in our food system in the agricultural setting as well. So let's keep demystifying how cider pairs with food together. Again, part of our collective marketing work, and these resources are available to you. And then going to our next slide, I wanted to share kind of a highlight. Emily previewed this. We hosted a really fantastic premier event, Cider and Chefs. This was again working with Culinary Breeding Network, and this was an in-person experience. We had a really amazing chef lineup featuring the chefs, as you can see here on our flyer, you know, from Three Sacks Full, from Yarawat, from Antica Terra. We had the beverage director from Chez Panisse, and all of these folks, you know, helped to really curate. We had some amazing bites, and they paired them with cider, and then we talked about why they worked. And the folks in the room were specifically culinary decision makers. They were people who are making decisions about where cider shows up on menu. And it was a wonderful opportunity to see the engagement and hear the questions and the conversations that people were having. And we were able to feature 10 cideries. Thank you, cideries, for participating. What a fun event. We learned a lot and are getting a lot of great feedback. And we wanted to make sure this gets amplified and that this message isn't just only specific to the people in the room. So we are partnering with a content creator, carefully chosen, you know, because of their audience, Seattle.food.diva, and Megan is currently working on creating a couple of great reels that'll go out to her 2,000 plus member followers, and it'll highlight these in a more evergreen way so that folks can continue to track along, and we can make connections with these kind of high profile folks and gather the feedback as we're running a survey now.
200,000, just
200,000, not 200 people. You know, in social media talk.
Yeah.
Moving along, if you will, I'd love to share our next slide, which kind of summarizes what we've been up to for 2025. There's a lot of moving parts. I said a couple of them. We also participated in the Circle V Vegan Food and Drink Fest in PDX. As I mentioned, we co-hosted that Cider and chefs event in Seattle. We also partnered with Seattle Restaurant Week, which just wrapped up in the end of, or in earlier November, and it'll cycle back again in the spring, and we'll partner again. So we'll help to amplify, and we'll do some more programming with the lead time with that, with chefs, to get them to menu cider in that context of Seattle Restaurant Week. And if you're not paying attention, love to call this out to you. The Sagra del Radicchio and cider for this year is coming up December 7th, and it's going to happen in Portland at the Red with the Culinary Breeding Network. Some of you might like to attend, and if you do, the tickets are almost selling out. Some of you are going to come and serve cider. Thank you so much. And again, we'll be working to help to get that message out to a broader base. These really cute little apples are also going to be stickers there, so I'll just call that out for fun. And if you're in the area and you don't want to necessarily buy a ticket, and you don't necessarily know that you're going to be a participant, if you want to volunteer, do reach out to us too. We have a few volunteer slots, and we love to have some folks on board. And that's a wrap.
Wonderful. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about a new grant that we have coming on. Generally, financially, grants are really what drives our budget. It's usually 60% or so of our overall budget. So our membership dues all together with cideries and allied suppliers, orchardists, everyone is usually about 100,000 every year. Grants such as this one, the new one we have from USDA through Washington Department of Ag, is 250,000. So we really like to amplify the backbone that is our membership, and be able to spend money on marketing and programming that can really help the entire category. So see if I can remember what I put in my slides. Here we go. So this is, when you think about this grant, it's really map related and tourism related. So a big piece of what we want to do is get our current map, which is online and the paper version, up to date and a little bit more mobile friendly. I don't know if any of you guys have used it or if you've gotten feedback from consumers, but please tell us, if you like practice, or like if you have a consumer who's come into your tap room, let us know if they have complaints or things they're like, oh, I've used this other map, it's way better because of X. We have some money to work with a developer to make it a little bit better. We don't want to put a ton of resources into our map specifically. We want to get it to a certain level, but then we want to spend a lot of time working with people who already do tourism, right? So partnerships with what's called a destination marketing organization, such as Visit Seattle or Visit Lake Chelan. Those folks are doing this all the time, and we want to make sure the content there is really cider specific. So we have some time here really to develop those relationships. And this grant started in October, and we hit the ground running. We went to the state of Washington's tourism conference out in Spokane to start building those relationships. We are looking to you all out in your fields to tell us who the great folks are that you're working with. Is Visit Seattle amazing? Who's the person we should contact? Do you work with the Chamber of Commerce in Wenatchee? Let us know who it is you like to work with. Or let us know if you're like, man, I would really like to work with them, but I don't know who that is. And we can spend the staff time and build those relationships. The other really cool thing that we are going to do is a FAM tour. So within the PR world, that's called a familiarization tour. And we have funding to actually fly some media. We're going to focus on 5 people to Washington. Ideally, they're travel writers from well-known sources. Maybe it's New York Times 36 Hours or, a specific travel magazine. We want to bring them to Washington. We're currently figuring out where that is. Likely it's going to be in Seattle and the Chelan, Wenatchee area, but please reach out to us if you want to be involved. The idea is to immerse them in the cider culture, have them do a cider dinner, walk through the orchards, see cool tap rooms, and add cider content to stories they're writing. Maybe it's a whole cider story. Maybe it's a visit this part of the world article, and we want to make sure they say, look at the cider map and go visit cideries. I think All right. So now Laura's going to get into some of the details here.
Hi, everybody. Really excited for all these updates that we're going to make to the map next year. As Emily said, one piece of this grant will be focusing on making improvements to both our print and online Northwest Cider maps with the goals of improving the functionality for users, increasing engagement with those maps, and ultimately driving more traffic to your tasting rooms across the Northwest. We're currently in the planning phase, like Emily said, and we're seeking cidery input for improvements on these updates so that we can make it the most useful for your businesses. So if you have ideas for changes to the map, it looks like Jana put the link in the chat if you want to take a look at the map. We have some ideas on our end that we're thinking of adding to the map, which are adding photos and features so tourists can get an idea of the feel of each cidery, putting new category filters so visitors can sort by features like whether or not a cidery has an orchard or if they have food offerings. Also adding suggested tours to the routes to the map is a possibility, and working with cideries to improve the content writing of their bios to optimize for SEO. And then for our print map, we're planning to combine the tourism content of the map itself with a lot of the new educational content we've created on the website, like the cider pairings and the cider styles guide, to ultimately drive people to the online map and back to the content on our website. So if you've seen a great map and have ideas, you can send me an email at info@northwestcider.com. And on the next slide, I'll talk about regional tourism. So another part of this grant is we'll be serving as a conduit between cideries and destination marketing organizations, like Emily mentioned. Visit Washington State, visit Seattle, visit Port Townsend, to name a few. The goal is to get these tourism groups talking more about cider as a reason to travel here and positioning cider as a defining part of the Northwest culture and key attraction for tourists and travelers. So on the next slide, if you remember back to 2024, this work builds off of the Agritourism Foundation we started in 2024 by creating the Oregon Cider Tours page. That page has three cider tours, one in the Columbia Gorge, one in the Portland area, and one in the Willamette Valley. These pages have SEO optimized content writing and are designed to drive more consumer traffic to our website and help tourists plan their cider adventures and with ready-made routes. Each cidery featured includes a bio and links back to their website and helps to boost their traffic too. So Jana posted a link in the chat there if you want to take a look at the Oregon tours. And then just last month, we launched the Washington tours pages, which build on the success of the Oregon tours page. And on the next slide, you'll see we have the 5 self-guided regional tours across Washington. You might have seen our posts on social media just last month. On the next slide has just some pictures of the carousel covers for those posts. And we'll be adding more tours to our website in the future. So if you want to be featured, please feel free to reach out to me via email at info@northwestcider.com. We would be happy to add you to the tour pages.
Thanks, Laura. And we know it's really hard to feature one cidery over another. We try our best to make all of these opportunities available to everyone. Sometimes it is hampered by grants, but the idea behind this specific grant is if a consumer goes to your tap room, first of all, that person where they're spending money, that company, you get more profit, right? You get the whole benefit, and they're more likely to be interested in your brand. But they're also, studies will show they're more interested in the whole category, right? So we're all going to benefit if consumers take the time and they go visit tasting rooms, whether it's in Washington or Idaho or BC or whatnot. So we're hoping that it will help lift the whole category. Feel free to put questions in the chat. We're going to keep talking, but we're really excited for this new funding and this new opportunity. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Andrew, and we're going to talk about board elections now.
Hitting all the buttons. All right. So we regularly cycle through board members, and we're always pitching. Emily, are you going to make the outreach call for new board members, or does that get folded into my section here right now?
Oh, you can do it.
Yeah. Okay. So we have some amazing board members that have come to the end of their tenure and are moving on out into the world. And I will name them and thank them appropriately in a moment. And then we have 3 new board members that we have proposed for your review, and many of you have voted. And if you have not voted, please do so during this meeting, and we will have this simple election wrapped up shortly. I wanted to take a moment before we focus on the humans to focus on the process and just articulate the way in which board members are selected of your organization. So we are constantly looking at skill sets and the array of personalities, skill sets, genders and geographic location and styles of ciders produced. The idea that we would like a broad representative board, and that is a challenge to find the right humans who have the right energy to join us and spend time guiding this organization. So as set forth in our bylaws, the nominating committee shall make known its proposed slate of candidates for the open directors positions or the open board member positions. All members will vote on those candidates during its fall annual meeting, which is now. And each board member shall hold office for a term of 2 years, beginning the day they are elected, so today. And so the next follow-up is, how did we come up with the new individuals that we're bringing to you today? And in that framework, we interviewed 5, maybe 6 individuals that both had the time, the willingness, and represented a slice of the skill sets that we're hoping to put together. We interviewed for these 3 open slots, and those 3 individuals are Alan McDonald of Winsome Cider in Washington, Ramsey Cox of Ramsey Cox PR, and Aaron Sarnoff Wood of Two Town Cider House. And in a moment, I'll ask each of them to say a few words about why they're here and why they want to volunteer and represent you on our board. But before I do that, just making it clear that each dues-paying cidery in our membership should have received a ballot to ratify these 3 candidates. And if you haven't yet voted, we resent the ballots at 10 a.m. today. Is that true, Emily? Did we resend the ballots? Yeah.
Yeah, we resent it.
Okay, good.
And we'll close the election. My notes say at 10:45 this morning, something like that feels pretty true. And the board election committee approved these 3 candidates and put them forth to you. You hit a vote on it. And we're asking to elect 3 new board members and re-elect 3 board members returning for another term. And those 3 that are returning are Dave Clawler, Jose Gonzalez, and Andrew Perez. We like them much, and we hope that they are looking forward to a renewed 2-year term. A moment to express some gratitude to our departing board members. Danelle Cronmiller from Two Town Cider House, Molly Ledbetter from Meriwether Cider, and Cheryl Wu Dunn from Christoph Farms. These 3 helped us shape and revise strategic plans. They reached out and hosted socials. They cajoled folks to push for marketing and PR collateral in various territories, and their efforts and their energy are so much appreciated. And for those of you out there that maybe don't feel those impacts directly, I'm working specifically in this mix, and I feel it. And I am independently grateful for these 3 and the efforts that they have brought forth. And I'm really quite excited to hear a couple of words from our 3 new board candidates. And arbitrarily here, Ramsey, would you be willing to introduce yourself and maybe articulate why you would like to volunteer and represent the membership on the Northwest Cider Association board?
Thank you, Andrew. I'm Ramsey Cox. I am founder of my own media relations and public affairs firm. And before I moved back to the Northwest for family reasons, I worked in Washington, D.C. for about a decade, where I helped draft and pass the Craft Beverage Modernization and Tax Reform Act. That's what set the excise tax for all alcohol categories. And then while I was there, I was poached by the Beer Institute, which is the federal lobbyist arm for the beer industry, where I helped make kombucha permanent. And then when I moved back out here, some local lobbyists took notice and asked if I could bring that federal playbook to help make sure that you don't pay too much in taxes as cideries to the state capitals. And so that's when we formed the Oregon Beverage Alliance. And Emily and all of the Northwest Cider Association members have been fantastic partners in that endeavor. We have killed 5 tax increase proposals in as many years. So great work and really appreciate it. But sadly, those fights continue. I also do similar work in Washington State with the Washington Beer, Wine, and Cider distributors. And I'm happy to talk more about some of those fights that we're facing. But I think as a board member, I offer some of those skill sets, not just in communications, but in government relations. So helping make sure that Emily and the other board members and the members of the association know when those fights are coming and are fully armed so that we can ensure that you can keep doing business and be the best cider makers in the world.
Rock on. Thanks, Ramsey.
No problem.
Alan McDonald of Winsome Cider, would you take a moment and go next?
Yeah, sure. So excited to be here. My background, I started in cider actually a long time ago, 25 years ago, with a brand in Vermont called Woodchuck Cider. And we were fortunate enough to grow that from sort of a small regional brand, and we took it national in a pretty big way. I moved from the Midwest where I lived out to Washington State, and was in senior marketing and sales roles at St. Michel at a company called Click Wine Group, which was a large importer of wine. And then at Winebow, the distributor who's nationwide, but we ran all of their marketing and PR out of our Seattle office. So I have a lot of alcoholic beverage experience, wine, a little bit in spirits, and certainly some in cider. So myself and my partner, Peter Click, who started both Click Wine Group and Click Distributing, decided that we wanted a family project. So we bought Winsome Cider. It's starting to grow. We're excited about it. We're excited about the industry and what the potential is. And I'm here to help however I can. I know a decent amount about the wine business, the alcoholic beverage business, but obviously you guys have been in cider much more recent than I have, so I probably have as much to learn from you guys as I can help. So when I was at St. Michel, I was on the Wine Market Council Research Board, and I found it pretty rewarding and interesting on how you can move sort of an industry forward. So when this opportunity came up, I thought it was not only a good thing to do, hopefully it helps us, and hopefully I have some sort of background or experience that might be able to help the board.
Awesome. Thanks, Alan. And Aaron, would you grace us with a couple of remarks and an introduction?
Sure, thank you. Good morning. I already know many of you on this call, but those who don't yet know me, my name is Aaron Sarnoff. I'm one of the founders of Two Towns Cider House. Today I head up the sales and marketing operations at Two Towns, but over the last 15 years or so since our inception, I've been involved in nearly every aspect of the business, from our startup phase in a small garage to becoming one of the largest cider producers in the nation today. In that time, I think I picked up a few useful nuggets and topics, ranging from production, compliance, sales team management, distributor negotiations. And I understand issues that many of us are facing and can bring experience and data to the table to help us address those issues. I've also worked over the years to build strong relations with a large network of distributors and retailers. And I think we can, leverage their help to advance future Northwest Cider Association priorities. In addition to my work at Two Towns, I've also involved legislatively in Oregon, Washington, and beyond. And as Ramsey already mentioned, last year we worked to successfully block a tax initiative that would have increased Oregon cider taxes by over 2,400%. Ramsey was also integral in blocking that effort, and I've worked with her personally, and she'll be a huge asset to the NWCA. I'm currently working in Washington to block a proposal there that would make displaying our ciders in stores much more difficult. So I'm also active in the behavioral health space and can provide feedback on legislative headwinds that would be negatively impacting our industry. Wrapping up, the Northwest is home to some of the best cider in the world, and it'd be an honor to represent all of you on the Northwest Cider Association board. So again, thank you for your consideration.
Beautiful. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Ramsey. Thanks, Alan. As my conclusion of this presentation segment, I want to encourage folks out there in the world, if from your own organization or parallel partner tangential organizations out there, if you think that someone would make a good contribution to our board, we are always looking. It takes a fair bit of communication and time to convince, woo, solicit people to join this board. And I think we do good work, and I think we need fresh minds and amazing people to do that work. And so if there is a likely candidate in your mind's eye view, send them to me, to Emily, to any other of our board members, and give us the opportunity to get to work on them and see if we can't reel them in. Get your board or get your election ballots done and turned in, and we will have all of this section concluded in short order. Thanks a lot, y'all. Back to you, Emily.
Thanks, Andrew, and thank you, everyone. I'm so excited about these candidates and to have the returning board members, as well as that institutional knowledge is really important. So let's go on to a little bit of money talk. Turn in your ballots. We are tightening our belts in the coming year. So we run on a fiscal calendar, is a calendar, the annual calendar. So going into 2026, we are seeing less grant money come in. Our membership dues are stable, which is amazing. I'm hoping our sponsorship dues will remain the same. Still, that cycle is almost done, but if you know someone who wants to sponsor or have a booth at the symposium or whatnot, please reach out to me. This is the time to really be making sure we have a strong financial, the financials look good next year. We do have less grant money coming in though, which is unfortunately quite normal for many organizations at the moment, with especially with federal grants. You know, our money, our 60% of our money is coming from the feds. So we're going to be very careful with the programming we offer, and we are feeling this financial downturn. I know a lot of you are feeling it. We're feeling it. It's just a difficult time to be a nonprofit. But we are lucky to have at least one new grant coming in, and maybe in the spring, I'm about to turn a new grant in tomorrow. So fingers crossed in the spring, we may have new funding coming in. If you have specific questions about how your dues are being used, please reach out to myself or Andrew Byers, or Andrew Perez is our board treasurer. I want to encourage you to make it easy on us this year for membership dues. I think everyone who is here is likely very tuned in and a big supporter, and we really appreciate it. Just so you know, we have maybe 60% of our membership on an automatic renewal. You've put your credit cards into the Wild Apricot system. And if you are one of those folks, the membership will be renewed December 1st. Last year, I think, was our first year doing this, and we found a lot of credit cards had expired or changed or whatnot. And it took a lot of us sort of reaching out to you and staff time trying to chase those dollars. So a huge help to us would be to go into your account right now, see if you are on this automatic renewal system, and just make sure your credit card details are up to date. I would really appreciate that. And then we can put Laura's time towards marketing your companies rather than chasing the dollars. And if you have any questions, you can't figure out how to log in or whatnot, please just reach out to Laura. She will be there for you. If you see someone on our map, if you go to nwcider.com and you see someone who is not on there of cidery, or yeah, I guess the map is all cideries, but this applies to allied suppliers as well. We have a new referral system. So if you want $100 off your dues, trying to tighten your belt, go find someone who you think might be a cidery member and who might want $100 off their dues also. So there's a bunch of details in here. Feel free to take a screenshot. This was also in the annual report that we mailed to everyone. And I think we're going to put a link to the web version in the chat here too, if you missed the mailing. And if you missed the annual report being mailed to you for some reason, let us know. If you didn't see that, we want to make sure it's going to you. We don't want to waste our dollars printing it and sending it into the ether. Okay, hopefully you took your screenshot. Okay, I'm going to pass the mic on to Emily Becker.
Hey everybody, it's nice to see you all this morning. I'm going to talk about two of Northwest Cider's core programs in 2025 and looking ahead to 2026. So first up is the Northwest Cider Symposium. You all might recall that we took a break in 2024 to host ICE CiderCon in Portland. So we didn't have the symposium then, and we came back in 2025 with a fantastic event. We had 300 attendees from 83 different cideries and orchards. People came from British Columbia and 6 different US states. We had 33 vendors in our trade show, and those are all allied supplier members. They're all members like you. And they're all coming to the trade show to help you grow your businesses and to support you. So it's a really robust part of our event. We love it. And we also had 38 people who received scholarships this year for 2025. And we have a bunch of sponsors that help make that possible. We did 11 different workshop sessions in our 4 different tracks: executive, growing, making, and marketing cider. And I thought it was really interesting in the evaluation that we do after the event, I was able to deduce which were the top sessions for people. They were collaboration in agritourism, diagnosing and analyzing your orchard health, and then optimizing cider business efficiency in a challenging market. And as we're shaping the 2026 content, you'll see some of those same themes come up because they were so appreciated. We also heard from attendees that, making connections with the cider community and socializing was really the top part of the symposium. That's the most valuable piece. And it's really fun too. People especially loved the pre-party this year, as well as the discussion groups. So for 2026, we're going to expand on all of that. We are taking the feedback you gave us in the evaluation and during the event and after the event, and we're going to improve the symposium, as always, getting a little bit better. So we'll be back in Tacoma, March 16th and 17th for our 5th annual symposium. We have a platinum sponsor this year at Scott Labs, and our presenting sponsor is Northwest Naturals. And just a huge thank you to both of those companies, as well as all the sponsors and the vendors. It's really, without them, we could not host the symposium. So on March 16th, the symposium is on March 17th. It's tricky because we say it's 16th and 17th, but we start at like 5 o'clock on the 16th. Some of you can come do things in the afternoon, but so in your head, put 16th and 17th on your calendars, put it in your head, but the actual day that we're all in the convention center is March 17th. So on March 16th, we'll have open houses, and we're looking, those are in development right now, but we're looking at doing those on Vashon Island. So that'll be really cool. We're gonna add a Northwest Cider Association member town hall with your board members. And of course, we'll have a pre-party, and we'll get details out about that soon. And then March 17th is the actual symposium day, and it's St. Patrick's Day this year. So if anybody wants to bring a green cider for happy hour, please let me know. I think that'd be really fun and probably gross, but fun. So we have a group of cider makers and cidery staff, marketers, influencers who are all on our planning committee to help organize the sessions and just make everything happen. So it's not just me. There's a big team of us that is working on it. We're doing that now. And we have, a full day of sessions, the trade show, all those things are going to happen again. The sign exchange, the swag swap, it's going to be a really full day. And so new this year, we're going to add more discussion groups. We always get a request to expand that section of the day. So we'll expand that. We're adding in an Ask the Expert section so this is a time to get more technical and kind of advanced content to the people who really want to hear that information. So after you sign up, you'll be sent a link to sign up for those. So to encourage you to sign up early, if you want that advanced and highly technical content, please sign up early for the symposium, register early. And then, there's still a lot of room to add in your ideas. So we have a suggestion form. So if you have any ideas, feel free to use that. It'll go in the chat. The team is still in development of everything. We're recruiting trade show, if there's somebody you want to talk to, if there's an expert you want to hear from, etc. And then I just really want to point out that despite what Emily said, like we're feeling financial pressure, you're feeling financial pressure, we're keeping the costs the same for members. It's still just going to be $125 for the whole event if you register before January 31st. And that's really important to us to make sure that you're able to come and get together and get this important educational content, meet the allied suppliers that are helping your businesses, but then also get together and everybody have time to be in one space together. So register now, it's open. I will, you'll be hearing lots about it as we develop more pieces. We'll be trickling out the information, and we'll get the sessions and everything out by before the early registration deadline, so in January. So one of our other core programs is the Northwest Cider Cup, and we've held it every year. And honestly, I cannot remember what year we're on. It's been happening for a long time, and it's.
I think this was year 12, and 26 will be 13.
Thank you. So in 2025, we held, the most prestigious cider competition in North America. We aim to inspire quality cider making and provide constructive feedback to cider makers. We use the competition to promote cider overall, as well as the ciders that win the competition. And we have a really great party. We have a good time. So just a couple of stats from 2025. We had 231 entries from 40 different cideries, 43 judges and 12 stewards. And we also had a head judge of the competition, who's Kate Pensley. She's on the call, I think. Our judges are trained industry professionals, and they evaluate each cider based on appearance, aroma, flavor, and mouthfeel. And each cider is judged by 3 different people in the competition, or 3 different judges, and they get feedback about that. So they select, out of the 18 categories, they select which are the best, and they award them gold, silver, and bronze medals. And in 2025, the judges awarded 57 medals. So that's just 25% of the entries that won a medal. And of all of the entries, just 18 get a gold medal. And that's 8% of the entries. And just one cider wins the cup, and that is Empirical. So congratulations again to Empirical for winning the cup in 2025. And thanks to everybody who judged and stewarded and submitted entries and helped in all the ways you did. So the Northwest Cider Cup is really more than just about getting medals. I think we all know this by now. It's about community. It's about celebrating the Northwest. It's our most excellent cider making region, and I think in the world, but for sure in the US. And so beyond medals, we do a few things that I want to point out, including we have an annual New Cidery of the Year award. That went to Olympic Bluffs Cidery this year, and that includes a $500 cash prize to support a new business. So if you're a new cidery, please consider entering, and you'll be included in the competition for that award. And then after the cup, we share out all kinds of information about winning ciders, the competition results. You know, we send it out through our media contacts, the winner's guide, social media. We have a partnership with Press Them Press. And, you know, Jan is going to share more about what all the marketing team does. It's a lot. But if you're, you know, you enter the competition and you don't win a medal, that doesn't mean you're not getting a lot of benefit out of it. So for 2026, make sure that you are starting now to think about what you want to enter. You all just harvested, so you're going to think about like what you're going to make, right? But think about that also, what you're going to enter. You can look at the categories from the 2025 competition guide. We'll get that updated and shared in March. We're not going to change the categories this year, so you can just read through those and you'll see the same information come in 2026. Okay, and then somebody put that in the chat. Thank you. So I highly encourage everyone to enter your submit your entries early. We'll open March 2nd. And if you want to hit the next slide, you can bring those to the symposium. So the idea behind this is that you're already coming to the symposium, so bring your cider that you want to enter in the competition so you don't have to ship it or drive it down to Wilsonville. So we want to save on shipping. If you're personally coming, especially if you're flying, like, or you're coming from BC or something, you can drive it across and you'll just save on all of that money and headache of trying to get your cider to the competition. If you don't bring your cider to the symposium, you can ship it or drop it off April 27th to May 29th. And that's going to be at our amazing competition sponsors, Wilsonville office. Columbia Distributing is our competition sponsor, and they're really helping to make this event possible by sharing their space with us. And a couple more dates on there. If you want to judge, we'll send out the form in January. The competition is going to be June 8th with in-person judging on Sunday, June 7th. So put June 7th and June 8th on your calendar if you want to judge. And then, you know, we're going to have a really fun party on June 25th as well. And then the next slide is just a few different dates. You take a little screenshot or a photo. We'll be reminding you a lot, but just so you have those in your head. And then I think Jana is going to talk next about marketing.
Yeah, I'll switch the slide slowly in case you're getting your screenshot. But Janet, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, as you heard, thank you, Emily. So many fun things that we're doing. I'm like, I love us. We have so many good pictures of all the things we've done throughout the year. So it's great to get to repeat. And yeah, please do bring your stuff to Symposium. It was such a fun thing this year. So give us feedback if you loved that. As you saw at the beginning of our presentation, one of the main things that we're always doing is we're trying to promote awareness of and demand sales for Northwest Cider. And so one of the ways that we've done that this year is by developing shareable assets. And we've developed these to help you promote, educate, and sell. There's a lot of them. We send them out throughout the year. We're, you know, updating you constantly in a number of different ways. I thought I would call some of them out to you to make sure that you're really seeing what they are. Emily also talked about this, you know, first one right in the very beginning in terms of cider styles. Based on that Northwest Cider Cup work that we've done over years, we've defined these 9 cider styles. So we're trying to simplify and make accessible cider to consumers, to buyers, get that word out to media. So we've got that cider styles guide here up in the left-hand side of this slide. Then over to the right, we have this new asset. I'm hoping you're seeing some of this, but I wanted to really call it out and take a moment. This Apples for Cider poster. This beautiful artwork was done by Workstad. This is a collaboration with NWCA and the Culinary Breeding Network to raise awareness for cider and apples specifically. This is again housed in that sort of culinary scope of work. We've curated a sampling of apples. We're trying to help, again, tell the story of how many different apple varietals there are and how this different ones play out in cider. And as I mentioned, there's some stickers as well. Over here in the bottom left, you'll see that Northwest Cider Cup Winners Guide. This is one of those promotional pieces that Emily Becker just mentioned. You know, throughout the year, we're always trying to showcase the winners from the Northwest Cider Cup and again, reiterate, what the different categories are and styles are. This is something we implemented new in 2024. The 2025 version is what's pictured here. And this has been a really great resource for you if you've won a medal and you want to send it to someone. For buyers who are choosing winning ciders, we've talked to a lot of folks who said, I'd love to figure out who's winning. And I said, okay, here you go. Here's the PDF, or go to the website. And there'll be a bunch of stuff dropped in the chat here so you can see all of this. And a great resource for media, of course. We've done a lot of work to try to secure media to make sure they're paying attention to cider, not only for the cup throughout the year, but the cup is a really big event, which media tends to pay attention to. And then over in the right-hand corner, if you haven't seen it yet, this is a really fantastic, super fun resource. Made it a little smaller here on the slide because it is small. It's a zine. It's this little cute half-page size. Thank you, Emily. This is 20 pages packed full of amazing content. This has a lot of those resources like the style guide and the pairing and some different pieces. It also has a beautiful intro article that was, again, it's another collaboration in our culinary scope of work. And the intro article is written by Margaret Waterbury, who's a beautiful Portland-based author. And this standalone article you can also read on Medium. We'll put the link to the zine in the chat, and it'll go on our website soon. There's also interesting, cool information on different apples within this as well as some glossary terms. So really packed full of information. Great resource for you, but really great resource for you to share with all of those people who are making decisions about where they place cider and your consumers and your customers. So far, the feedback has been really great. Let us know what you think and what other resources you'd like to see. I don't have a picture here, but I wanted to call out, if you haven't seen them, or if you have, the Cider 101 videos are also an amazing resource we did with Beth Demon, and they're on our website as well as on our YouTube channel. So I think that's a great one for you as well. Moving on, our next slide is focusing in on our increased focus on Washington marketing and PR. And to Emily's point earlier, we're always working kind of within the funding pools, and we're doing work, Oregon and Washington and Montana and Idaho and British Columbia. We do have some specific grant funding that supported us in our work here to earn more Washington media coverage. We've also continued to work with Oregon PR professional, but we wanted to make sure we were really getting connected to folks who were getting us on the news and getting us in those media outlets in Washington specifically. Pictured here is this New Day Northwest TV coverage about Northwest Cider Cup. Some of you, I'll also just remind you, if you saw the great article that came out this summer in Eater that was how to road trip your way around Puget Sound's many cideries, there was 10 specific cideries that got called out, as well as many that got mentioned sort of in a final paragraph. Great resources. We've developed lots of Washington-specific content. We ran a digital ad campaign with Visit Seattle. This is just our banner because it was skinny in there. Those lifestyle photos, I hope that you've seen them coming through. I think Michelle hopped on this call, Markenstein, and she's been just instrumental in helping us get some really beautiful photos, working with Brett, who we've worked with for a number of years. Many of you have been using those beautiful photos. We see them at Symposium, we see them on your website, and we knew we needed more Washington-specific content. So we have urban settings, rural settings, orchard settings, the waterways. Thank you so much to the cideries who hosted us and allowed us to take beautiful photos of their gorgeous spaces. We're loving this new set of photos and feeling how great it is to have more and more representation. And we'll drop those in the chat and feel free to use them. Laura mentioned those tours, which are new to our site for Washington, 5 different regional tours. And if you haven't seen them, please check out the 3 new videos that were also shot. They're Washington specific. They are awesome, really professional, high quality, really engaging, short enough that you can just share them with folks, and also long enough to give you a little bite size of content. They're on our YouTube channel, and they're also on our site. So please take a look. Of course, let us know, what resources you think that you would like to see us create. But we're really proud of this kind of big body of work and glad to get a nice big, visibility spotlight on Washington specifically, where many of your cideries are located. Our next slide is going to dig in a little bit more into our public relations campaign. And I'll just kind of remind you, as we set up in the beginning that strategic plan that Emily mentioned. We also had drafted a strategic marketing plan, which helped us steward our work for the last couple of years, as well as we have a wonderful marketing steering committee. I'll give a shout out to all of our members and a special thank you to Danelle. Thanks. We know you've been on our board and serving on that committee, and we appreciate you. And we're excited to have a few new members. Hopefully Alan, who's on this call, and Jessica from Two Towns. So excited to keep growing and having some energy there. We boosted our Northwest Cider visibility through the strategic outreach. We give away samples to media. We do storytelling. We give lots of media interviews. We're constantly engaged in that work behind the scenes. This has resulted in over 60 outlets, not just in print. I have a few, pictured here, but also in TV outlets, also podcasts, radio. We're touching a lot of different places. This means we're reaching a lot of folks, 16.5 million unique views, and then 200 million overall views. There's a lot going on here. So we hope that if you're paying attention and if you haven't seen what is in the news for Northwest Cider, you can check it out on our website. It's always getting updated. Laura does a great job keeping it current. If you have a story that you are featured in, please send it to us. You can send it to Laura, info@Northwest Cider. You can send it to me. My email will go in the chat as well. And if you want help pitching your story, let us know as well. We'd love if you have a hook, if you have a line, if you have something that's interesting to you, we'd love to help support that. Our marketing steering committee and our member feedback are going to help determine what things we kind of narrow in on for marketing specifically in 2026, as well as the kind of scopes of work that we've already talked about that we're doing. So we'll send out a marketing survey. So if you were like, I'd love to know how to pitch my own PR stories, that could absolutely be a piece of data that we kind of help refine for you. So stay tuned for a marketing survey that'll come out to you in early 2026. Moving on to our next slide, I wanted to talk about our digital outreach work. We did a lot of this in 2025, and specifically, we had focused on that cider curious consumer, taking you back again to what we learned in our consumer market research. We collaborated with a woman-owned ad agency, Found Marketing, and we did an audit of our digital footprint, our different campaigns where we are landing on the web. And we did this strategically timed with the launch of our website, which we'll talk more about, the launch of our updated website. We really wanted to make sure that we were using any ad dollars available to drive traffic to new URLs that had been newly populated on our website. We built out a lot of new content there, as well as optimizing for our SEO. We were able to increase the reach and engagement across all the digital channels. So this really was a successful mission, several months in the making. We boosted not only just the organic visibility, but also the paid ad performance. And we did get some actionable analytics, which I'll share with you on the next slide. As I mentioned, we have this, sorry, I'll call out on the last slide that we have the annual report that has deep dive details. So if you want to take a deep dive in there, please do, in terms of who we're touching. And if you want to go more data specific, reach out anytime, or feel free to let us know if you'd like to be engaged in our marketing committee. Thank you. And so when we met with the marketing committee and started to wrap up our digital work from the year, we felt like there was a lot of good takeaways here, and we're encouraged to pull out some more of the kind of top higher learnings for folks to ascertain what they might find applicable to their own work. And so I've just pulled out the kind of top 5 here for you. And this is a result of lots of our digital audit and then months of A/B testing. And we did the A/B testing with regard to the imagery, the content, the audiences. So lots of different iterations to kind of land on these highlights. One of the things we found to be meaningful was this is for digital ads, to start with a copy with a question. Did you know style questions for us received 5 times more comments than ads that did not start with a question. We also found that if you started the ad copy with a statistic or a fact about cider, that did well across both our engagement and traffic campaigns. We found that had the highest engagement, and clicks came from those kinds of ad copies that had those statistics. I feel like this is still a place where we're hearing that folks are learning about cider and they're interested to learn more. We also found that keeping the ad copy generic rather than audience specific landed well. We tested this audience specific ad content, things like targeting a youth audience with specific language or specific gender, or kind of getting more micro and foodie categories. And generally we found in our findings that that ad copy got 10 times fewer comments and nearly 200 times fewer clicks than the more kind of generic. So our takeaway is kind of staying high level is still feeling impactful for the work that we're doing. And this image that I'm picturing here is a great example of the imagery that we found worked well, which was looking at things where the glass is filled with cider, something where you can get a visual optic on it, maybe with apples in the background or surrounding. It can be nice to have a visual with different colors and hues of cider. The apples felt like a meaningful piece to include to make sure that the cider wasn't mistaken for beer, as they can often look similar poured out together. And finally, using high energy, fast tempo background music for the ads perform better for us than with something with a slower ad. So I hope this line of information is helpful for you, and do let us know in that marketing survey that we'll send out, what you'd like to see more of, or reach out with anything directly anytime.
And
Thank you.
let us know, are you seeing the same thing with your marketing as you're, posting on social media? Are you seeing similar results, or, which photos are working for you? We also, all of our photos are available to our members.
Yes, thank you. Next up is more about our website redesign with Laura.
Hi, everyone. I hope by now you've had a chance to look at our new website, northwestcider.com. This was a huge project that went live in March 2025, just before Northwest Cider Symposium. As a reminder, we reorganized the website into 3 audience groups to better reach them. So we now have consumer section and industry section, which is for cider makers, orchardists, allied suppliers, and members like you all. And then we have a trade and media landing area as well that helps media partners find news, stats, and storytelling tools that make it easier to talk about Northwest Cider. Our redesign helps all the audiences find the information that they're looking for faster. And we also, as Jana said, created so much new content on the website. So if you haven't had the chance to look through it all, you should visit the website and see all of the different content we've created. We've already seen a lot more traffic on the site since launching the new design and coding and everything. So we've seen 2 times more organic search traffic. And so that's great. We're seeing a lot more traffic on the site and getting more visibility for your cidery listings, the map, and the events calendar that we have. And then just note the red circle in the top right corner on every single page is where you can log into your Wild Apricot account and access your membership benefits. And so on the next page, I'll share the industry landing page, which is the landing page for industry professionals to get to the resources that are relevant to them. So you would click the industry at the top menu on the homepage, you click the industry bar, and a pop-up will show up and you click resources, and that's how you get to this landing page. On this page, you'll find industry-related content and resources like the Northwest Cider Cup entries, Northwest Cider Symposium, upcoming industry events, and also a direct link to your member benefits is right there in the top menu on the industry landing page. That bottom with the arrow right there on the slide, you can see that you'll have direct access to the Cider Maker Toolkit and also the membership benefits there. As far as new content, Jana mentioned about the Northwest Cider News page. So on the next slide, we've been rolling out tools that drive more traffic to tasting rooms, and this Northwest Cider News page launched in 2024, and we moved it to our new website, and we're constantly adding new stories. So as Jana said, just let me know if you've been featured in an article or podcast or video segment, and I can get it listed on the news page. We also have a cider festival and event calendar that we've updated, so that as we're adding more events to this calendar, we're seeing increased page views and engagement, and it's a landing page for cider events across the Northwest, and we make it easy for you to get your events on the calendar. There's an event submission form where you can just upload the details of your event, and basically I publish it and then it's live there. And then I'll know that your event's happening and I can promote it on social media as well. So make sure that you're adding your events to the calendar, and we'll keep growing this festivals page. On the next slide, I'll talk about member benefits. If you haven't had the chance to or visited our Cidery tools and resources page in Wild Apricot in a while, now is a great time to check it out. We added a lot of resources this year to members. We added photos from the new photo shoot in Washington. There's the form to request printed materials like the zine and pocket guides that we talked about earlier. And there's also new one-sheet information like a direct-to-consumer cheat sheet, grant resources, and more. So you can access this page once you log in by clicking the member resources button at the top menu, and then clicking on Cidery tools and resources, and that'll take you to a full list with links to all of your benefits. If you have trouble logging in or want to add any members to your bundle, just email me and I'll get you all added. On the next slide, I'll share about the toolkit, which is another new resource that we completely revamped in 2025. The toolkit, if you all remember, it was originally created as a crowdsourced wiki page to support cideries and new cider makers and help them save time and solve business challenges. And we've completely revamped it this year with new links, new guides, and it helps both new and established cideries in navigating every step to run a cidery business. So in the box there on the slide, you can see all the different categories that we have resources to. So if you're looking for, if you have a question or looking for an answer, go to the toolkit. Jana just posted the link and the password to the toolkit there. We also are always featuring our members on social media. So if you want to get featured, there's a few ways you can do that. You can tag us with @Northwest Cider on Instagram, message us directly, or email me, and I'll make sure to get your events and cidery features posted. And lastly, we hear time and time again that you all love our cider socials, and that being a part of the community is one of the biggest reasons that you renew each year. So this year we hosted 8 cider socials across the region, and we couldn't have done that without the help of our hosts. So we wanted to just shout out everyone that hosted a social this year. Starting out in March, we had the Symposium pre-party, and Incline Cider was a stop there. In April, we went to Spokane and visited with Liberty Cider Works. Finn River hosted the Cider Olympics in May. And we also went to BC in June and visited with Junction Orchard and Cidery. And then we had the awards party and after party at Bauman Cider. In September, we were in Seattle for Cider Summit, and Meriwether Cider hosted the Idaho Cider Fest again in Boise. And lastly, we just hosted a social at Bauman's last month, and we're already looking forward to next year. So I wanted to get you guys excited for the socials we have planned. Take a screenshot of this slide. We have our next upcoming one is in Burlington, Washington at Garden Path Fermentation, and we'll post a link to the RSVP form, and also
next week.
Yes, next week. So RSVP, hopefully you can make it, or come to the social in Salem at La Familia Cider in January. And just save all these dates on your calendar because we want to see you out at the events. And I'll pass it off to Emily.
Okay. Again, I'm going to be slow moving the slide over in case you're taking a screenshot. We'll be taking a break in December, but see you back in January. Thank you to La Familia for hosting our first one. That will be their Salem location. All right. Well, it is a huge surprise, but by a landslide, all 6 of these board members have been elected. Thank you everyone for participating, for voting, for reading the ballots, for listening in. We are really, really thrilled. Every year I say this, but the quality of board members continues to increase, and the conviviality and the ability to get things done together is incredible. I'm really excited for our new candidates. I'm really thrilled to have the returning board members. It's going to be a great couple years going forward. So thank you all of our members. Thank you everyone for participating. Typically at the end of the meeting, we like to leave a little bit of room for questions, and I like to turn the recording off to remove that intimidation. So 1 second while I do that, if I can find it. Maybe if I stop sharing my screen, that will help me find it.